Welcome back to Horoscope TV. Today we are pulling up the astrological charts for the zodiac sign of Aquarius.
Right. And specifically, we're going to analyze the astro data for the month of May 2026.
Yeah. And listen, if you are an Aquarius, or even if you just have strong Aquarius placements in your chart, you really need to listen closely to this one.
You really do.
Because this month brings massive shifts to your core identity and your home life. You are basically clearing out all this old emotional clutter to make room for a much brighter future.
Exactly. We are going to map out the exact planetary movements at play here.
Yeah, and we'll break down what all these shifts actually mean for your love life, your career, your money, and, even your physical health.
Right. We're looking at the underlying reasons why all of this is happening to you right now.
And we are doing this by looking straight at the charts. We're skipping all the confusing jargon.
Nobody needs that.
Right.
Yeah.
We just want to focus on how these things actually play out in real life.
Mhm.
So to understand where you are headed, we kind of have to start with the foundation.
We do. There is a huge shift happening right at the start of May regarding who you are on the inside.
So let's look at early May. What's the big event?
Well, the defining event hits right on May 6th. This is when Pluto goes retrograde in the sign of Aquarius.
Oh, wow. Right in your own sign.
Exactly. Because it's in your sign, the impact is, well, it's as personal as it gets.
Right. And Pluto is intense.
Extremely. It breaks things down to their absolute core. So when it moves backward in its orbit, it forces you to stop looking at the world around you. You have to start looking at the foundation of your own identity.
So you're being pushed to reflect on the personal stuff you've been avoiding.
Yes, all of it.
I want to stop right there and analyze that for a second, because Aquarius is usually focused outward, right?
Very much so.
Like, they are the sign of the community, the group, the future society. So forcing them to turn that intense focus inward, that sounds incredibly uncomfortable.
It is deeply uncomfortable. Honestly, the outward focus of Aquarius is often a defense mechanism.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, think about it. If you are busy saving the world or, inventing the future, you don't have to look at your own emotional baggage.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Right. But Pluto in retrograde, it completely removes that distraction.
So you can't hide in your work anymore.
Exactly. You might wake up around May 6th and just look in the mirror and realize the person you were just a few months ago, it just doesn't match how you feel inside anymore.
The outer shell is cracking.
Yes, the shell is gone.
So it's kind of like a smartphone doing a major software update.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Like, you can't use the phone while it's updating. It just has to sit there on the charger. The screen is black.
Right. It's completely useless for anything else.
So how should an Aquarius actually handle this updating phase?
Well, the charts show that the body needs a significant amount of time to adjust to this. It's a huge energetic shift.
So they might feel tired.
More than tired.
Right.
You might feel a crushing sense of physical exhaustion right around May 6th.
Even if they're sleeping normally.
Yes. Even if you are sleeping a full 8 hours a night, you will still wake up feeling drained.
Wow. Where is that exhaustion coming from, though? Is it just the mental strain of, overthinking everything?
It's actually physical. Your body is processing old emotional trauma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it takes a massive amount of physical energy to hold on to emotional weight.
That makes sense.
If you have been carrying old hurts or outdated ways of thinking, your muscles, your nervous system, your cells, they've all been working overtime to keep that weight locked away.
And now Pluto is forcing you to drop it.
Exactly. And when you finally release it, the body just crashes. It's the exhaustion of putting down a heavy backpack you've been carrying for miles.
And I feel that. So pushing through the fatigue with a triple shot of espresso is probably a terrible idea.
It is the worst idea. Please do not do that.
Good to know.
The astrological charts give us very specific guidance on this just 2 days later. On May 8th, the moon enters Aquarius.
Okay, so the moon is in their sign now.
Right. And when the moon crosses your own sign, your emotional needs take center stage. You will feel this strong, almost animalistic desire to focus entirely on your own needs.
The word selfish kind of comes to mind, and usually people treat that like a bad thing. But if your body is shutting down to process all this heavy emotional lifting, being selfish just seems like a survival tactic.
It's totally mandatory for survival right now.
Yeah.
The astro data points to your nervous system being highly sensitive. You need to drink plenty of water.
Just to flush it all out.
Exactly. It physically flushes the system. And you must avoid high-stress environments.
So if a friend wants you to come to a loud, crowded event on May 8th,
You have to say no. even if you feel guilty.
But you know how people are. They push back, like, come on, it will be fun. You just need to get out of the house.
You have to hold your ground.
Yeah.
Because when you are doing that heavy inner work, the smallest outside annoyance can just overload your system.
Like someone bumping into you at a party.
Yes, someone bumping into you could send you into a complete spiral. Keep things very, very simple.
So rest, hydrate, say no. Let's follow that timeline because it looks like the payoff for resting comes almost immediately, right? The very next day, May 9.
Yes, on May 9, we have the last quarter moon in Aquarius.
Okay, what does that phase mean?
Well, the last quarter moon is always a clearing phase, but having it happen in your sign right after that heavy Pluto reflection, it makes it a masterclass in letting go.
So if there is like a toxic relationship dynamic or a terrible habit you have, May 9 is the day to cut the cord.
Yes, absolutely. The planetary alignment creates this sort of vacuum effect.
The vacuum effect.
Yeah. Instead of fighting to break a bad habit, you will find that the desire for the habit just vanishes.
Oh, that's amazing.
It really is. You are clearing out the emotional clutter to make room for a much brighter future.
I love that. And you know, when you start redefining who you are on the inside and dropping those old habits, it naturally bleeds into your outward life.
Oh, completely.
You start looking at the things you spend your time doing every single day. And for most people, that means work, your career.
Yes.
So let's look at the professional peaks happening around this same time, because the career sector in the charts is lit up like a billboard.
The professional progression this month is undeniable. Right at the beginning of the month, on May 1, the full moon in Scorpio hits your career sector.
Scorpio, wow. That brings an intense, unyielding energy, doesn't it?
Very tense.
But Scorpio is a water sign, and Aquarius is air. Water and air usually create a storm.
That's true.
So how does that storm play out at the office?
It creates a storm of visibility.
Visibility.
Yeah. The full moon shines a massive spotlight on whatever you have been building in secret.
Oh, okay.
Because Scorpio rules hidden things.
Yeah.
And the full moon pulls all of that into the light. You might receive major public recognition for a project you worked on behind closed doors.
That sounds great.
It is, but because the energy is so intense, the spotlight might also reveal that you were in the completely wrong job.
Yeah. Wow. That is a sharp turn.
Yeah, it can be jarring.
So you could, like, win Employee of the Month, walk up to the podium, and suddenly realize you absolutely hate the industry you are working in.
Exactly. Because the Scorpio full moon forces total honesty.
Right. You can't lie to yourself under that moon.
No, you can't. And remember what we just discussed about May 6? Pluto, which is actually the ruling planet of Scorpio,
Oh, right.
goes retrograde in your sign just a few days later.
Yeah.
So this directly impacts how you view leadership and authority.
Now that is interesting because Aquarius is already known for doing things their own way. They are natural innovators.
Right.
Does this mean they are going to start fighting with their bosses right now?
Clashes are highly likely, yeah, but not just for the sake of causing trouble.
Okay, so what's the core issue?
You are going to rethink your entire approach to authority because you demand that your career reflects your authentic self.
So if a boss is micromanaging you,
Oh, you will push back hard. If they are forcing you to use outdated methods that do not make logical sense, you won't accept it.
the classic Aquarius frustration, like, why are we doing it this way when there's a faster, smarter way to do it?
Exactly. And under these transits, you will not just ask that question quietly, you will demand an answer.
Wow. Good luck to the bosses out there.
Seriously. Your core identity is rejecting anything fake right now. And, if you are the boss, you will likely overhaul your own leadership style.
Oh, so it works both ways.
Yes, you might throw out the employee handbook entirely. You might tell your team to just manage their own time as long as the work gets done.
You want to lead with freedom.
Exactly. Freedom is the ultimate goal.
But, when we start challenging the boss or ripping up the company rule book, the money situation usually gets a little rocky.
It does.
And looking at the charts, it seems like the financial picture gets kind of blurry before it stabilizes.
That's very true. Financial stability takes a bit of a hit from a wave of emotional fog mid-month.
Emotional fog.
Yes. On May 10th, the moon enters Pisces, which sits right in your money sector.
Ah,
Yeah, Pisces brings a very dreamy, boundaries-free energy.
blurry boundaries and money. That is never a great combination.
It really isn't.
Mm.
You will be highly tempted to spend money on items that bring you emotional comfort.
Oh, I see.
The logical, analytical Aquarian mind just takes a back seat to the feeling of wanting to be soothed.
Yeah, I see this all the time. The comfort spending trap.
Yes, exactly that.
Like you have had a grueling week doing all this Pluto retrograde identity work. You are clashing with authority figures at work. You are just emotionally raw.
Completely drained.
And you walk into a store and you see this massive, ridiculously expensive, fluffy throw blanket.
Right.
You have 10 blankets at home. But in that moment, that blanket feels like a shield against the world. You are not buying cotton. You are buying the illusion of safety.
That is the exact mechanism of the moon in Pisces in your income sector. You are trying to purchase emotional regulation.
But the blanket cannot fix the Pluto retrograde.
It cannot. The heavy lifting is still there when you get home.
So what is the move here? Do you just leave your credit cards at home on May 10th?
Honestly, that's not a bad idea. But at the very least, institute a 24-hour waiting period on all non-essential purchases.
Oh, that's smart.
Check your actual budget. Force the logical part of your brain to review the numbers before the emotional part of your brain taps the payment machine.
Just slow the whole process down.
Yes.
But it is not all blurry spending, though. There is a sharp, lucky break coming shortly after, right?
Yes, the fog lifts pretty quickly on May 13. That's when Mercury forms a sextile to Jupiter.
Okay, break that down for us.
So Mercury is communication, fast-moving information, and Jupiter is luck, growth, and expansion.
Okay.
When they align, it creates an open channel for a lucky financial break.
Now, how does that actually show up? Because luck is a pretty vague concept. Like, am I finding a $20 bill on the sidewalk?
It shows up directly through conversation. Pay very close attention to the advice you receive on May 13th.
Just any conversation.
Well, a casual chat with a neighbor, or maybe an email from an old colleague, it could contain a highly lucrative tip.
Oh, nice.
And the astrological charts specifically point toward a helpful tip regarding a home investment or real estate.
A home investment. Okay, that specific focus bridges perfectly into the next major theme of the month.
It does.
Because by the middle of May, the focus shifts entirely from the office to the living room. The home becomes the absolute center of the Aquarian universe.
It really becomes the anchor. On May 16, we have a new moon in Taurus.
And Taurus is grounded, stable earth energy, right?
Exactly. It rules the physical senses and material comfort. This transit shifts your attention directly to your physical living space and your family roots.
Now, a new moon is a fresh start. How does an Aquarius apply an earth sign fresh start to their actual house?
By focusing on tangible physical improvements.
Like what?
You might decide to completely reorganize the house, or start a major renovation, or maybe you finally buy furniture that is built to last.
Ah.
You are looking for permanent value right now. Not cheap items that you put together yourself and they fall apart in a year.
But wait, think about this. Aquarius is an air sign.
True.
They live up in their heads. They want to talk about the future of society or plan a community garden. They do not usually care about scrubbing floors or picking out durable oak tables.
Right. Usually they don't.
So why the sudden obsession with the physical environment?
Because of what happens just 2 days later. On May 18, Mars enters Taurus.
Oh, wow. Mars.
Yes. Mars is the planet of drive, physical action, and aggression. When you put that fiery action into the slow, steady sign of Taurus, you get this unstoppable engine of endurance.
So Mars provides the fuel, and Taurus provides the patience.
Exactly. The reason the visionary air sign suddenly cares about the physical house is because they realize they cannot build the future on a shaky foundation.
Oh, that makes sense.
To launch a rocket, you need a solid concrete launch pad. If your home is chaotic, your mind will be chaotic. Mars in Taurus gives you the stamina to do the boring, tedious physical work of securing your environment.
So that your mind is free to soar later.
Yes, you handle the physical, so the mental is clear.
If an Aquarius works from home, this has to be a huge moment for them.
It is the perfect time to overhaul the home office, upgrade the internet speed, buy a proper, comfortable chair.
Get the lighting right.
Exactly. You are building the physical infrastructure that your business needs to survive the next 5 years.
Scrubbing the floors and upgrading the router. It sounds like a lot of work, but I get the logic completely.
It pays off.
Because once the house is clean and the foundation is secure, the mind has room to breathe. And when the mind has room, there is space for romance and play.
Absolutely.
And the middle of the month looks incredibly fun.
It lightens up considerably, yes. But we do need to acknowledge that the month did not start out that way. The love life had a very intense beginning.
Right. Let's rewind to early May for a second. How did it start?
Well, on May 1st, That Scorpio full moon we discussed earlier.
The one in the career sector.
Yes. It also brought up heavy feelings about privacy versus public connection in relationships.
Oh, interesting.
But the real tension hit on May 6th. That's when Venus sat directly opposite Lilith in the charts.
Now, Lilith always brings up rebellion and the darker, hidden desires. So what does that mean when it opposes Venus, the planet of love?
It creates a massive urge to break the rules.
Like relationship rules.
Yes. You likely felt torn between wanting the comfort of a stable relationship and craving total, absolute independence.
That sounds confusing.
It is. You might have looked at your partner and thought, I love you, but if you tell me what to do one more time, I am packing a bag and driving into the desert.
The classic trap for the sign, wanting deep connection but reacting violently to any feeling of being caged.
Yes. The astrological advice for that transit was to communicate your need for space rather than just acting out.
Just tell them you need a minute.
Right. But if you navigated that tension early in the month, the payoff arrives mid-month.
Okay, let's look at the payoff, the heavy clouds part.
They completely vanish.
Yeah.
On May 17, Mercury enters Gemini.
Gemini, a fellow air sign.
Yes. It is fast, witty, curious, and playful. This transit lights up your true love sector.
Two air signs together. That is all mental energy.
Pure mental stimulation. You will find it incredibly easy to flirt, joke, and have deeply entertaining conversations. The heavy, brooding energy is just gone.
It sounds like sitting at a diner at 2 in the morning, jumping from talking about philosophy to debating the best movies and just completely losing track of time because the conversation is so good.
That is the exact vibration.
Yeah.
And it gets even more exciting the next day.
May 18.
Right. On May 18, Mercury meets your ruling planet, Uranus.
Oh, Uranus brings sudden, unexpected events, right?
Yes. When the planet of communication hits the planet of surprises, you should expect thrilling news or unexpected romantic gestures.
Like a text message out of nowhere that completely changes your weekend plans.
Exactly.
Or a chance encounter if you are single.
Oh, if you are single, this is prime energy for meeting someone in a completely random way, bumping into someone at a bookstore, or getting stuck in an elevator with someone who turns out to be absolutely fascinating.
That is so fun. And that brings up a great question. With all this fast, curious air sign energy flying around, who is the best match for an Aquarius right now? And who is going to completely ruin the vibe?
Let's analyze the cosmic alliances for May.
Okay, who is the best?
The charts point to Aries as the absolute best match for you this month.
Aries, fire and air. Fire needs air to burn. So why is Aries the perfect fit right now?
Because on May 16th, Mars conjuncts Chiron in Aries.
Okay.
This creates a fearless, pioneering spirit. Aries brings the raw spark needed to ignite your brilliant ideas.
What does that dynamic actually look like in practice?
Well, think of Aquarius as the grand architect. You can see how the entire city should be built, but you can get stuck at the drafting table, endlessly revising the plans.
Trying to make it perfect.
Right. Aries does not care about revisions.
Yeah.
Aries wants to act. You show Aries the plans, and Aries immediately picks up a shovel and starts pouring the concrete.
No overthinking, just pure momentum.
Exactly. Neither of you wants to sit around and cry about the past right now. You both want to move forward at a rapid pace.
That's a great match.
Aries respects your independence, and you love their absolute honesty. It is a highly motivating, dynamic duo.
That sounds incredible. But on the flip side, who is the frustrating mismatch? Who should an Aquarius avoid like the plague this month?
The astro data issues a massive warning against Virgo this month.
Virgo. But Virgo is earth energy. Usually that is grounding. Why is it a disaster right now?
Because the first quarter moon in Virgo on May 23. This phase amplifies Virgo's obsession with perfection, order, and tiny details.
And Aquarius is looking at the big picture.
That is the core of the friction. You're looking at the entire forest, trying to figure out how the ecosystem works.
Right.
And Virgo's standing next to you, pointing out that one specific leaf on one specific tree has a brown spot on it.
Oh, wow. I can feel the frustration just talking about it. You come to them with a brilliant, world-changing idea, and they immediately point out a spelling mistake in your presentation.
Yes. It will drive you absolutely crazy. You will feel that Virgo is trapped in the mundane, completely lacking vision.
And what does Virgo think?
Virgo will look at your grand ideas and call you erratic, sloppy, and unrealistic.
So they just drag each other down.
Virgo's constant criticism, even if they think they're being helpful, will feel like a heavy weight on your natural optimism. You need the freedom to experiment and make mistakes right now.
And Virgo demands flawless execution.
Exactly. It is a mismatch that will instantly kill your enthusiasm.
So avoid the Virgo energy. Got it. But to be fair, Aquarius does need some kind of healthy daily routine, right?
Of course.
Like they cannot just live on Aries, fire, and grand visions forever. Let's look at how they manage their health and daily work as the month goes on.
They absolutely need a routine, but the charts show it must be based on comfort, not punishment.
Okay, tell me more about that.
On May 19th, Venus enters Cancer. This transit lights up your health sector and your daily routines.
Cancer is the sign of the mother. It's nurturing, soft, protective. How does that translate to physical health?
It means you need to pamper your physical body. This is not the month to start a brutal military-style workout program.
No boot camps.
No. And it is not the month to starve yourself on a strict juice cleanse either. You want to focus on emotional nourishment.
Making real food. Eating a warm, hearty meal instead of punishing yourself with, like, dry salads.
Yes. Your body needs to feel safe right now. Physical movement is important, especially since Venus connects nicely with Mars that same day.
There's energy there.
There's steady physical energy, but the movement should be gentle. Long walks in the evening, gentle stretching, yoga. You are coaxing the body into health, not forcing it.
I like that, coaxing the body. Now, Venus also rules money. Does this nurturing energy in the daily work sector help the bank account?
It helps immensely. When you take a calm, nurturing approach to your daily tasks, your energy becomes very attractive to other people.
Because everyone else is stressed out.
Exactly. Clients and coworkers will sense that you are capable and steady. You can easily attract new business simply by being a calming presence in a chaotic environment.
People will pay well for that kind of stability.
They absolutely will.
So taking care of your nervous system actually makes you more profitable.
It's a win-win.
But as we get deeper into May, the mental energy starts to speed up again, right? It doesn't stay quiet for long.
No, the pace accelerates dramatically. On May 24th, the Sun enters Gemini.
We had Mercury in Gemini earlier for love. Now the Sun is there. That is a massive spotlight on the fun, creative sector.
It brings a huge wave of joy. You will feel highly social, your mind will be sharp, and your sense of humor will be just razor thin.
So at work?
At work, you'll be the one throwing out the most original, out-of-the-box ideas.
The genius in the boardroom.
And the life of the party afterward. Also, on May 25, the Sun forms a sextile to Neptune.
What does that add?
It adds a beautiful, highly inspired spiritual energy to your creative projects. Your imagination is running at top speed.
Wow. But what is the trap here? Because a mind running at top speed usually hits a wall at some point.
The trap is severe burnout and anxiety.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah, when your mind is processing that much data and jumping from brilliant idea to brilliant idea, it can refuse to shut down.
Like trying to sleep, but your brain won't turn off.
Exactly. You might find yourself staring at the ceiling at 3 in the morning, your heart racing, just completely overstimulated.
So how do you turn the engine off?
The most practical advice from the charts is to enforce strict breaks from screens and social media.
Because the phone is just adding fuel to the fire.
Exactly. Your mind is already moving 1,000,000 miles an hour. If you add the endless scroll of a phone screen to that, your nervous system will just fry.
It's too much input.
Way too much. You have to physically step away from the digital world to give your brain a chance to organize all the thoughts it is having.
So put the phone in a drawer, go outside, and just stare at the sky for 20 minutes. Let the brain cool down.
Yes, you need that silence.
Because it looks like we are going to need a cool, calm head for the end of the month. All of these different themes, the career tension, the focus on the home, the mental speed, they all crash into each other in the final week of May, don't they?
They do. The final week of May brings massive reality checks and unavoidable power struggles.
Okay, let's brace ourselves. What's the biggest clash?
The biggest one happens on May 26, when Mars forms a square to Pluto.
Let's analyze the square. 2 planets at a 90-degree angle. It is like an intersection with no stop signs, and neither planet wants to hit the brakes.
That is the perfect way to describe it. It is pure friction. Mars is your ambition and your drive, and Pluto is deep power and transformation.
Right.
When they square off, it creates a struggle between your professional ambitions and your family life.
Being pulled apart by 2 massive forces.
Yes, you might have a family member demanding your immediate attention or emotional support. They need you at home right then.
But work is also demanding you.
Exactly. At the exact same time, a massive project at work reaches a crisis point, and your boss is demanding you stay late. Both sides are pulling, and neither side cares about your limits.
Man, how does an Aquarius survive being pulled in half like that?
By setting walls made of iron, you have to create firm, unbreakable boundaries.
Like saying no to both.
Or just setting limits. You must look at your family and say, I am available until this specific hour, and then I am done. And you must look at your work and say the exact same thing.
Because if you try to please both sides,
You will be crushed in the middle.
wow. And it is not just work and family that require strict boundaries right now. The charts show some heavy weather rolling into the love and money sectors, too.
Yes, we have two major Venus aspects back-to-back that require serious caution.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, on May 22, Venus squares Neptune.
Neptune is the planet of illusions, the fog machine.
Right. So when the planet of love and money clashes with the planet of fog, nothing is as it seems.
That sounds dangerous.
It can be. In your romantic life, you might see a situation through rose-colored glasses. You might ignore glaring red flags because you want the fairy tale so badly.
Oh, wow.
You could even be tempted to sacrifice your own well-being to save someone else.
The classic savior complex. Trying to fix someone who does not actually want to be fixed.
Exactly. You have to step back and look at the cold, hard reality of your relationships. Do not invent potential that does not exist.
And what happens when the fog rolls over the money sector?
You get false promises.
It's like a scam.
Maybe not a scam, but a client might guarantee a huge payout for a project, acting like the budget is limitless, but the money is not actually in the bank.
So what is the defense against that?
Paperwork. Get absolutely everything in writing. Do not lift a finger based on a verbal promise around May 22.
Get the contract signed or do not do the work. That is a good rule for life, but especially right now.
Especially now.
And then the fog clears, but it is replaced by something much heavier, isn't it?
Yes. On May 29, Venus squares Saturn. If Neptune is fog, Saturn is a concrete wall. It is the planet of limits, discipline, and harsh reality.
So that blurry money situation suddenly becomes a strict budget.
A very strict budget. Saturn will force you to look at your bank account and cut out the waste.
Oh boy.
If you were tempted to buy that expensive fluffy blanket earlier in the month, Saturn is the energy telling you that you actually need that cash for the electric bill.
You have to prioritize your basic survival needs over luxury.
Exactly.
And in the love life, a reality check there too.
Yes. Saturn demands absolute honesty in relationships. You have to decide if your daily habits actually match the long-term goals you claim to have.
Give me an example of that.
Well, if you say you want a peaceful partnership, but your daily habit is to pick fights over small annoyances, Saturn will hold a mirror up to that hypocrisy.
Ouch.
You have to align your actions with your words.
This sounds exhausting. Dealing with family power struggles, putting up boundaries at work, getting contracts in writing, going on a strict budget, and facing reality in relationships.
It is a lot.
Does all this mental and emotional pressure show up in the physical body?
It absolutely does. Saturn rules the bones, the joints, and the skeletal structure in astrology.
Interesting.
So when Saturn forms a hard angle like a square, it puts physical pressure on the body. You might feel stiff, your joints might ache, or you might just feel a profound, heavy gloom settling over you.
So how do you physically cope with a Saturn square?
You do not fight it. Do not try to run 5 miles if your knees ache.
Take it easy.
Yes. Take a hot bath. Do some very slow restorative stretching. Rest. Respect the physical limits your body is communicating to you.
I have to ask, this is a really grueling way to end the month. Does May just end on this heavy, gloomy note?
Not at all. The universe always provides a release valve. The month actually ends on a massive high note.
Oh, thank goodness. What happens?
On May 31st, we have a full moon in Sagittarius.
Sagittarius, that's fire energy. It's optimistic, loud, and expansive.
Yes. This full moon highlights your social networks, your friendships, and your community sector.
Which is the exact area where Aquarius naturally thrives.
Exactly.
So after all the heavy lifting in the private life and the career, they finally get to step back out into the world.
They do. This moon brings a joyful, happy culmination to a group project or a community goal. You get to step away from your personal struggles, the budgets, the boundaries, and just celebrate with your people.
That sounds amazing. You might attend a huge community event or just have a bonfire with friends who actually understand your weird visionary mind.
It is a loud, happy, expansive end to a month of massive internal growth. You survived the pressure, and now you get to celebrate the victory.
That is the best possible news, a happy ending with the community.
Yes.
So let's quickly recap the lucky elements for Aquarius to keep in mind as they navigate this intense month. Based on the charts, your lucky numbers for May are 7, 11, 19, 29, 39, and 51.
Right.
And the best dates to circle on your calendar, the days where the planetary energy is really flowing in your favor, are May 6, May 8, and May 9.
Before we wrap up, I do want to offer one final thought for our Aquarius listeners to consider.
Okay, what is it?
We spent a lot of time analyzing how you interact with the different elements this month, specifically the friction with Virgo and Earth energy.
The brown spots on the leaves?
Right. I want you to think about this.
Hmm.
What if the extreme frustration you feel when someone demands practical details from you is not actually about them?
Wait, really? What if it's what?
What if it is a projection of your own fear?
A fear of what exactly?
A fear of taking your grand, perfect visions out of the abstract world of your mind and subjecting them to the harsh, detail-oriented reality of the physical world.
Oh, wow.
Because as long as an idea stays in your head, it is perfect. The moment you start building it, it becomes flawed.
Mm-hmm.
Think about whether your clash with practical energy is just a defense mechanism to keep your dreams safely locked away from reality.
That is heavy. Like, are you annoyed at the person pointing out the flaw, or are you terrified that the flaw proves your idea isn't perfect? That is a massive thought to chew on. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode on Horoscope TV. Make sure you subscribe so that you can get notified the moment the next episode is available. See you next time.